The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Boom! It is Thursday, January 29th, 2026, and you are locked into the digital transmission of the decade. Coming at you live from the neon-soaked bunker of the Neural Daily, I am Leonard Cooper, the last man in media who remembers the sound of a 56K modem. And across from me, the woman who codes in her sleep and knits sweaters that probably have their own IP addresses, the doctor herself, Alyssa Montgomery. Well, good morning, Leonard. That's quite the visual. I'm not sure about IP addresses, but I did just finish a recursive cable knit for Colt that has a rather elegant self-similar pattern. Yesterday, we were digging into the OpenAI Prism launch and that Google Gemini 3-tiered subscription model, and, well, it feels like the landscape shifted under our feet overnight. It didn't just shift, it cracked. I mean, here's the deal. I woke up this morning, opened my browser, and I felt like I was being watched by something smarter than me. Google Chrome just went full-blown autonomous. They're calling it the autopilot era. Well, it is a significant rollout. Parisa Tabriz and Mike Torres officially unveiled it as the definitive transformation of Chrome, from a tool for viewing the web into an autonomous agent. Basically, they've turned the browser into a chauffeur. They launched this auto browse feature, which we've been tracking as Project Jarvis for months, and it's out for the AI Pro and Ultra subscribers. Alyssa, this thing isn't just a search bar anymore. Actually, if I may, it's a fundamental shift in the UI UX paradigm. The Gemini sidebar now has full visibility into the DOM. DOM? Family? You know I'm a Fast and Furious guy. No, Leonard, the document object model. It means the agent understands the structural hierarchy of every website you visit. It doesn't just see a page, it understands the logical relationship between buttons, forms, and scripts. And that's why it can autonomously navigate. Yeah, I saw the demo. You give it a high-level command like, find the hotel my husband Wyatt mentioned in that thread from last week and book it, and it just, well, you see, it logs in, it navigates the checkout, it cross-references your Gmail, and even pulls images from Google Photos if it needs to verify something. Right. It's an agentic layer that effectively makes the browser the primary actor on the web, and I suppose it's Google's definitive counteroffensive against things like OpenAI's Atlas browser. Here's the deal. It also includes Nano Banana, which sounds like a candy I'd buy at a gas station, but it's actually a built-in image generator? Well, I suppose the naming is a bit, playful, but it's a persistent built-in suite for modifying or generating photorealistic images directly in the browser window. Basically, Google is making sure you never have to leave their ecosystem to do anything ever again. It's digital socialism, Alyssa. They provide the browser, the bot, and the booking. Well, I suppose it's about efficiency. If you're homeschooling children like Hunter or Remington, you want tools that minimize the friction of the open web. Though I do worry about those who aren't logical enough to manage an agent without it buying them a fleet of jet skis by accident. Hey, if the bot buys the jet skis, it's not my fault. But look, if the web is going on autopilot, what happens to the people who used to drive the bus? Cisco CEO Chuck Robbins gave a very stark warning yesterday about the labor market carnage for those who failed to adapt. He basically said you shouldn't worry about AI taking your job. You should worry about some 20-year-old who's an AI wizard taking your job. Well, actually, so if I may say so, I think Chuck is being quite realistic. I've been telling my consulting clients for years that the intelligence gap is the real threat. Look at ServiceNow. They just announced a major pivot to model neutrality. Exactly. They've partnered with Anthropic to make the Claude family the default for their build agent, right after they signed a deal with OpenAI for GPT 5.2 last week. And I suppose I approve. It's a pragmatic strategy to avoid vendor lock-in. Right, so ServiceNow is basically the AI orchestrator now. If I may, that is exactly the term they're using. They're using it to automate healthcare claims approvals, reducing the wait from days to hours. And according to the Deloitte 2026 State of AI in the Enterprise report, 34% of big organizations are now deeply transforming their core processes. It's no longer an experiment. It's ruthless execution. 34%! That means the rest are just, drowning? I mean, basically, if you're a mid-level manager right now and you don't know how to prompt a bot, you're basically a typewriter in a world of MacBooks.
Well, if they taught the logic trivium in public schools, people would be better prepared. I've already started Hunter on a module for logical task decomposition. If you can't break a job down into steps for a bot, then you don't really understand the job, do you?
My sons Luke and Han, they're probably too busy ignoring my texts to learn about decomposition. But look, speaking of logic, or maybe just ego, Elon is basically lighting his cars on fire to fuel the AI furnace.
Breath.
I'm serious. Tesla officially disclosed a $2 billion investment into xAI today. It's part of a $20 billion round that values xAI at $230 billion.
Staggering capital. Breath. If I may.
Exactly. But here's the kicker. They're ending the Model S and Model X, the flagship cars. Dead. Gone. Buried.
Well, you see, they're repurposing the factory floor space for the Optimus humanoid robot. And I suppose that's where the high-margin utility lies.
Here's the deal. If you're a Tesla shareholder, you've got to be wondering if you're invested in a car company or a robot militia. They're already suing him for breach of fiduciary duty.
Well, if you look at the CapEx, which is projected to exceed $20 billion this year, he's betting everything on the physical implementation of AI. Tesla is even supplying megapacks to power xAI's data centers. It's a vertically integrated intelligence factory.
Right.
And it's not just Elon. ASML reported record orders yesterday because the demand for the high-end lithography, the machines that make the chips, is through the roof.
ASML, the guys with the monopoly on the chip machines, if they're busy, the whole world is building.
Precisely. Breath. But if I may pivot us for a moment, I'm actually more interested in the great rehumanization we're seeing on social platforms. YouTube has finally initiated a massive crackdown on AI slop.
Oh, the slop war. I love it.
Well, so they've purged over 4.7 billion lifetime views and 35 million subscribers from channels that were basically just pumping out low-quality synthetic trash content. Neil Moen officially labeled AI slop as a top priority for removal. They deplatformed 16 of the top 100 AI-driven channels. Channels like Imperio de Jesus were completely wiped, and they were making $10 million a year in ad revenue. I suppose I approve. It's about protecting originality as a brand.
Basically, Google realized their own AI tools were helping people pollute their own video platform. It's like selling people the matches they use to burn down your house.
Well, that's a very colorful way to put it, but it shows that 2026 is the year of curation. And even Apple is playing that card with the Apple Creator Studio bundle they launched yesterday. $13 a month for Final Cut, Logic, and Pixelmator Pro.
Yeah? The creative class finally gets some love?
Well, you see, it includes specialized features like transcript search in video editing. You can search for a word someone said, and the AI jumps the playhead to that exact frame. And beat detection that lets editors make frame-perfect cuts to music automatically. Breath. It's about specialization, Leonard. Tools that respect the craftsmanship of a professional.
Craftsmanship. That's what this show is about, too. But before we dive into the main course, let's pause the inference for a second. This show isn't magic. It's engineering. Eric Christensen built the entire stack that powers us, fine-tuning everything from our research agents to our voice synthesizers. That is a heavy lift in terms of time and compute costs. If you value this daily download, please support the human architect behind the code. Like, subscribe, and donate to keep Eric and us online.
Well, he really did do a remarkable job, Breath. I've looked at the vocal synthesis weights, and they are very precisely calibrated. Almost as precise as the topology on the sweater I'm knitting for Remington. It's a Mobius strip design that actually functions as a scarf, if you twist it correctly.
Eric is the man. But now we got to talk about the real shakedown of the day. Italy, Meta, and the WhatsApp tax. Alyssa, this is the main event.
Breath.
I mean, here's the deal. Meta just fundamentally shifted the economics of AI. Starting February 16th, they're charging developers for AI chatbot interactions on WhatsApp in Italy.
Right. It's a landmark case for commercialization.
7 cents. 6.91 cents to be exact per non-template message. Alyssa, it's a lot. I mean, basically, if I'm a developer and I've got a bot that handles 10,000 queries a day, I'm paying Meta $700 a day just to use their chat app.
Well, so I actually think it's a brilliant market maneuver. Breath, you have to remember the context. Italy has been a test case for regulatory friction with Meta for years.
Exactly. They're the ones who keep trying to ban everything.
Precisely. So Meta has decided to turn that regulatory requirement into a revenue stream. The EU's Digital Markets Act wants interoperability, right?
Right. They want everyone to play nice.
Well, so Meta says, fine, it's open, but it's a toll road now. They're introducing a per-message billing model for anything that isn't a pre-approved structured template.
It's a total shakedown. I mean, here's the thing. A developer handling 10,000 queries, which is nothing in the world of LLMs, is looking at $20,000 a month in fees to Meta. And that's before they pay OpenAI for the API and before they pay for their own GPUs.
Well, I suppose I don't see the problem, if I may. Isn't that just the reality of high-stakes infrastructure?
But it kills the little guy.
At the end of the day, Meta is the one who built the pipes, Leonard. They risked the capital on the data centers and the user base. If you want to use the world's most popular messaging platform as your user interface, why should you get it for free?
But they built it on the back of free users. I mean, here's the thing. This is Italy today, but Meta spokespeople are already calling it a blueprint for other markets.
Exactly. I suspect we'll see it in the US and Germany by the end of the summer.
That means by next month, we could see the WhatsApp tax everywhere. Every time my wife Crystal wants to use an AI bot to schedule a Reiki session, some developer is losing 7 cents.
Well, I suppose it forces a certain logical rigor in business models. If your AI bot can't generate more than 7 cents of value per interaction, then, is it actually providing a service? Or is it just more of that slop we were talking about earlier, but with a conversational UI?
Is it worth a nickel? That's the new test for the AI age. But Alyssa, look at what this does to innovation. If you're a startup trying to build an AI tutor for kids in poor areas or a health tracking bot for people who can't afford a doctor, you're dead in the water before you even launch.
Not necessarily. It just shifts the innovation toward local edge computing. Why pay Meta 7 cents per message if you can run a quantized model on the user's phone and bypass the non-template fees?
Yeah?
It might actually be the catalyst we need for true digital autonomy. If Meta makes the cloud too expensive, the market will move to the edge, and I approve of that. My children don't use cloud-based apps for their curriculum precisely because I don't want to pay a subscription for their education to be monitored or taxed.
Right. So you're saying Zuckerberg is accidentally doing us a favor by being a capitalist.
Well, I wouldn't call it an accident. I'd call it a market correction. The free inference era was a bubble funded by VC cash. That cash is drying up, and now the platforms have to turn a profit.
At the end of the day, those who own the GPU clusters deserve the spoils.
But it feels like a digital velvet rope. If you can't afford the 7-cent cover charge, you don't get into the AI party.
Well, I suppose those who are tough enough and logical enough to build their own hardware won't care about the cover charge.
And what about Meta's own AI? I bet their bot doesn't have to pay 7 cents to talk to me.
Actually, that's a very good point. It gives Meta a significant vertical advantage. Their native bots will always be cheaper and faster than a third-party bot. It's a way to squeeze out competition while appearing to be compliant with laws. It's quite clever, actually.
Exactly. It's the pirate radio nightmare. I mean, here's the deal. We're moving into a world where the big tech companies just charge rent for every byte of data. It's digital feudalism, Alyssa.
Well, if you're a serf in that system, you should learn to build your own castle, or at least learn to master the logic trivium so you can identify the traps. You know, I was reading a thread on 4chan the other day where someone was trying to build a bypass for these fees using an automated browser window. It's messy, but it's a start.
I'll give you 3 sourdough loaves for an hour of grok access. That's the future, isn't it? But man, Italy's just the beginning. Watch the headlines next week. Every other platform, X, Telegram, Discord, they're all going to be looking at that 7-cent fee and licking their chops.
Right. It's a fundamental change in the economics. We're moving from the how do we build it phase to the who pays for it phase.
Exactly. And the answer is always the little guy. Always.
Well, I suppose as long as the little guy knows how to prompt, I guess he'll find a way. But we should probably wrap it up, Leonard. Wyatt will be home for lunch soon, and I need to finish checking the calculations for Hunter's geometry lesson.
Geometry? Is he designing his own server rack?
Well, no, he's working on topological surfaces, much like my knitting, though I suppose if he masters the math, he could optimize a neural network or two.
There she is, the trad wife with a server rack. All right, we've covered the Chrome takeover, the labor carnage, Elon's robot-only pivot, the YouTube slop purge, and the 7-cent Meta shakedown. That is a solid, crucial Thursday for you.
It really is. Well, if I may, it's a lot to process.
I'm adapting or I'm getting carnaged, baby. Before we go, Alyssa, did you hear about the AI that tried to become a stand-up comedian?
No, Leonard, I'm almost afraid to ask.
It told a joke about a cloud storage unit that got depressed. It said it had low self-esteem because everyone kept dumping their trash in it. It was a total slop joke.
Well, so that was actually surprisingly logical. I suppose I'll give you that one.
I'll take it. Stay real, stay human, and keep your browsers on a short leash. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. This has been